And welcome once again. And welcome once again. I forgot to push power. And welcome once again to another episode of Real Talk on January 5th, this Friday, 10 p.m. I'm Adam, joined tonight by... Who am I joined by, guys?
Jeremiah and David.
Devo.
The Devos.
And have you all had a good week? It's been a while since we didn't do a show, last week?
Or the week before, I think. It's been a while since all three of us has been here.
Yeah. I think 2 weeks ago it was the snow came again.
Yeah.
January 5th was the first time, but I also had a huge jaw. I had a toothache. Mm-hmm. So I made a video saying in my car that we're not doing the show.
Yeah.
Well, partly it was snow as well, but I kept it in dim light so people couldn't see my puffed up jaw.
Face, yeah.
It was like kind of. Have you ever seen this movie called Pure Luck? Or this Will Smith movie, like what's it called? It's like where he eats fish and his face gets swelled up real fat.
No.
So,
What?
do you know what I'm talking about, Amber? It's what's that? No, I'm gonna look up. I can't think of. If anyone knows what the Will Smith movie is called, it's like it came out like maybe it's like a romantic comedy kind of movie. I'm not the biggest Will Smith fan, so I can't think of the. He plays like a guy who's trying to help Kevin James get confidence to go out with a girl. What's it called?
Hitch.
Hitch, yes, Hitch.
What?
Yeah, he gets like allergic to fish.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Now my face wasn't like that, but did I see you earlier that day? Or no?
No.
Okay.
It's like he basically teaches men to like be romantic, smooth talkers.
Yeah,
basically,
yeah.
Like just basically how to be smooth.
Like I did go on a date to see that movie. I mean, it was a date with my girlfriend at the time, but we went out there because typically I would choose, I would choose movies that I knew that we would both like, or she'd be like, "Hey, let's go watch Hitch," or
Yeah.
But sometimes when I would choose the movies that, that I typically like, she'd be like, "That's the worst movie I've ever seen." So I was like, sometimes I didn't invite her, and I was like, "I only invite you because I know you won't like it. I don't care to watch movies by myself." Now, did you all growing up watching movies a lot, like when you went out to the theaters, or even at home by yourself, or with others mainly?
It is with others mainly for me.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the same. I never had a TV in my room until I was like 14 or something. Man.
I had a black and white TV.
Always.
But it was only because it was just like the spare TV, and it was like, well, you can have this TV or none.
I seem to always remember having some sort of like 12-inch CRV tube TV, but never like it. Just seems like it was always video games.
Can somebody cut
Is it
that
better?
off? Yeah, if you don't mind. Okay.
Yeah, no, it was more along the lines of it was always like some sort of Sega or Nintendo
Right.
hooked up to the TV. If there was any TV viewing, it was always in the living room.
Now the first TV I had, I was probably 7, and I bought it, and it was about this long, but it was a real tiny screen. The screen. I have this little box of cookies. It wasn't round, but it was like a little square screen, and it was about like that, and it was about this long,
Oh.
and it had an antenna.
Dude, we used to play your GameCube on one of them.
Did you?
Yeah. My
ATV off-road
stepdad.
theory.
My stepdad had one he used to take with him to work
Yeah.
because he used to work on oil rig.
Yeah, this was like a little TV you could transport. And it would hardly. I lived up in Washington State, so I would often try to watch Seattle Supersonics games.
Okay.
But sometimes it would be like the screen would be on there, but every once in a while it would like move up slowly. You know what I mean? Like it would keep, and you'd have to like.
Did
But-
you know there ain't even a Supersonics team no more now?
No.
That's isn't that Golden State now?
Yeah.
Warriors.
Yeah. It was back in. It was back
That
in.
had to be the early 2000s.
I lived there in the. I lived there from '87 until 1990. That's when I lived there.
Yeah, well, I mean, they were there then.
Yeah. And then I never did get to go to a game there, but I did go to a Seattle Mariners game one time.
Really?
And I got to see,
Did you see Ichiro?
I got to see King Griffey Jr.
What?
Nah, before he
Holy
went to the
shit.
Reds.
Yeah, that was one of my fondest memories. But I didn't get to go to an NFL game. I did get a post. There used to be the Seattle Seahawks receiver named what is his name? Steve Largent,
Oh, yeah.
and I got a signed postcard from him.
Wow.
So yeah, I
Damn.
I never did get to see him play though. But we
Hey,
should
that's
talk.
all right.
Yeah. So the movie that we're doing tonight is going to be Kill Bill Volume 1. And I think this is a movie that, well, Amber said she hadn't watched it. Have you?
No, I've never seen it.
Neither volume?
No.
Boo.
Dude,
That's
fine.
surprising.
Yeah.
That's
She's
surprising.
not into blood and gore and stuff, dude.
Well, that's interesting you say that because I don't think I have it written down in the facts here. But there was so much blood in this movie that they had to make part of it black and white.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But this is also
Crazy
blood
88.
that you can tell that
Yeah.
this is blood. You can tell it's fake blood. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's
It's supposed to be
yeah,
that way, man.
especially how it, like squirts out of
Yeah.
people's arms and
Chick
such.
gets her arm cut off
Yeah.
at the beginning of the movie, and I mean, there's, gosh, 5 people worth of blood that comes
Yeah,
out.
gallons upon gallons. So this volume 1 and volume 2 were actually supposed to be one movie called The Whole Bloody Affair. The horrible producer Weinstein thought, well, let's cut these in half, and then there'll be shorter run times, and we can make double the money. And also, Quentin Tarantino considers Kill Bill 1 and 2 only as one movie because he said he's only going to make 10 movies. So this is after waking up from a 4-year coma, a former assassin wreaks revenge on the team of assassins who betrayed her. And that pretty much sums up
Yeah.
what's going on, and as does the title.
I mean, yeah, dude, this movie is nothing but action from beginning to end.
Yeah.
It
Yes.
never stops.
No, it doesn't. And a lot of people, I put up a post earlier today, name your top 3 Tarantino movies. And a lot of people said Volume 1 was their favorite. A lot of people said Volume 2. Now, David, you said Volume 2 was your favorite of the
Yeah.
two.
I like it better, too.
You
Yeah,
do
I
as
like
well?
Volume 2 because it dives deeper into
The mythology.
and who Beatrix Kiddo is.
Yeah.
And,
I think so,
and
too.
What made her? Who made her?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I also, it for me it varies. Like for tonight's show, I think Volume 1 was a good choice.
Oh yeah.
As far as like more substance, because you have to think in Volume 1, she's pretty much taking out the foot soldiers, whereas in Volume 2, she's getting into the heavy hitters, the main villain, the villain's girl.
Girlfriend and his brother.
Yeah, and his brother. So you're getting up higher up the ladder.
Exactly.
Whereas in this one, she's fighting the Crazy 88.
Rennie Eve, Renita.
Yep. So you have a lot of kind of her peers because they were her fellow assassins.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a pretty interesting aspect of it. Now, did you all happen to see this in the movie theater?
No,
I didn't see it in the movie.
Okay.
No.
This might have been, to be
This
honest
actually
with
happened to
you.
be another one of the pay-per-views that
Okay.
our uncle showed us.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's like a big, huge Quentin Tarantino fan.
Right.
He likes explosions.
Well, this was a cool thing. I did work at the Cobra movie theater at the time, and I was able to put together. We would build the movie prints. So when this came in a canister, usually 2 canisters, sometimes 3, but this one had 6 reels, 2 canisters. I was excited because I knew Kill Bill was coming. So I put it together, and then we watched it early.
Okay.
So that was another cool thing about working there, that we would watch movies, sometimes the night before, or occasionally.
For anyone.
Yeah. Well, this is a quick story. One time there was a snowstorm, and it was when the movie Kangaroo Jack came
Oh
out.
yeah.
Actually, I went and seen that one. In
Did
the
you?
Theaters, yeah.
In Coburn?
Yeah, in Coburn with our friend.
Because it opened in Wise and then went to Coburn. But when it opened in Wise, I was Mike had asked me, "Hey, can you go there early and let them in because they're going to bring a movie?"
Yeah.
Well, my grandmother had dropped me off because we were supposed to open, but it ended up snowing really bad, and I ended up getting stuck there for about 4 hours. So one of the things I did was put Kangaroo Jack together and started watching Kangaroo Jack.
Why not,
Well, here's a
Yeah.
fun obscure little fact. At the Coburn Theater was the very. I actually seen my first movie that had to have an intermission because it was so long.
Which one was it?
King Kong.
King Kong.
With Jack Black.
Yes. Really? I didn't
Yeah.
realize it had an intermission.
Yeah.
I worked at the
That was a
theater.
long movie.
Yeah, that was a long movie. And imagine how long this one would have been.
Did you ever watch Dr. Zhivago?
I haven't.
That's like a 45-minute whole intermission.
Oh, wow.
Kill Bill
Yeah.
as a whole is just over 4 hours long. It's like 4 hours and
Okay.
5 minutes long.
No, Titanic had an intermission
Yeah.
at the theater.
They'd have to.
And so this probably, I don't know if Quentin Tarantino would have allowed an intermission in this movie.
I don't think he would.
I don't know, because I don't think he would have. So I think splitting it up is a good idea.
Yeah, it was for sure.
Yeah.
Because especially now, like, I don't like to do this, but sometimes if it's a long movie,
Yeah.
I'll split it up into like
But-
2 nights.
How do you split a movie like this up when it's nothing but action from beginning to end in both movies?
Yeah.
You can't. What are you going to take out? You're going to take out pieces of the story that needs to be there.
That needs to be told. That needs to be
You
told.
can't.
You know,
you
something
can't
I want
split
to
it
throw out
up.
there. My wife seems to think that Quentin Tarantino's actually missing out because that scene at the beginning of the movie where Beatrix and Vernita have their fight, and she kills Vernita, and Nikki, is
Yeah.
standing there and seeing her mother being killed. You know,
Yeah.
she always seen it as like there been another couple movies.
Yeah.
Like where Nikki is hunting down Beatrix, but like bees in the way.
Okay.
Her daughter.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, that leads us to director Quentin Tarantino. Now, we've mentioned several of his movies: Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction, Kill Bill Volume 1, 2, Death Proof, Django, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and many, many others.
Oh yeah, I'd mentioned Planet
Absolutely,
Terror
yeah.
earlier. That's
Robert
actually-
Rodriguez.
Yeah, that's actually. But Quentin Tarantino did produce that movie.
Yes. Now, they
And
had...
He did have a cameo in it also.
Yep.
Yes.
It is.
Now, that was one... I lived in D.C. when that came out, but I didn't... my girlfriend at the time, or actually my wife at the time, worked at the theater.
You know,
And-
that's definitely something I could see Quentin Tarantino getting into because that
Oh,
movie
yeah.
had
You
his
know he
name
loves
all
it.
Yes.
over it.
When it came out, it was a double feature.
Yeah.
And the Robert Rodriguez Planet Terror played 1st, and then Death Proof played 2nd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people were thrown off with Death Proof.
Right.
I've liked that one a little better as I've gotten older, but I don't think it's the best one.
No, it's definitely not.
I would put it near, probably near the bottom. But that doesn't mean I don't like it. I like it. I've watched it like 3 or 4 times. Whereas Kill Bill Volume 1 or 2, I've watched, 15 times. Now, I've watched Volume 2 more. But they both have a fantastic, they're both fantastic. So here's a few little facts. The shots of the bride, where the bride splits a baseball in 2 with the samurai sword, was done for real on set.
What?
It was done by Zoe Bell, who actually plays in Death Proof, who is Uma Thurman's stunt double.
What?
So all the car scenes also in Death Proof, Zoe Bell does those because actually, she's in that movie, but that's all her real, because she's a stunt double.
Wow.
The bride's yellow outfit was inspired by the outfit worn by Bruce Lee in his final film,
Okay.
Game of Death.
I thought
Yeah.
that looked familiar.
Yeah. And
That's awesome. dude.
Quentin Tarantino owns the P-Wagon and drove it every day in Hollywood to promote the release of Kill Bill Volume 2.
nice.
Of course he would. Of course he would own that.
Now, also, he licensed it out to
Yeah.
Missy Elliott for the music video "I'm Really Hot," and it appears in the video for "Telephone"
Yeah.
by Lady Gaga and Beyonce.
Yeah, I remember that. Yep.
Now, I'd forgotten about that until I reread that. And I was like, oh yeah, I'd forgotten about that.
Something I want to reference. Her fight scene at the end of the Crazy 88, whenever she's fighting like the leader.
Yeah.
woman, it references that one fight scene in Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon a lot, where they're like fighting in the bamboo trees.
Oh, yeah.
Like the
Yeah.
sugar cane.
Yeah, good
Like,
callback.
like-
Good callback.
Sure.
Now that you mention that, yeah. Despite being bleeped out in the film, the name of the bride is revealed on her plane ticket when she goes to Okinawa and Tokyo. And approximately $60,000 of the movie's budget was used on swords and sword accessories.
If you pay attention at the beginning, whenever Nikki first walks in and it first bleeps out Beatrix's name, if you actually pay close enough attention, it doesn't bleep it out loud enough, and you can actually hear it.
Yes, yes, you can.
Yeah.
Now, does anyone know why he chose to bleep that name out?
He revealed it in the second volume.
Okay, I can't remember why though. Can you recall?
Because the second volume's the one where we get to, essentially learn who she
everything.
is.
Like learn
how
things
she was
about her.
created, yeah.
Interesting.
If we wanted to keep
We'll
the
have to
essence
do
of like
that.
mystery.
Same.
Well, I like little things like that. Like sometimes, just like when in Pulp Fiction, there's a lot of theories of when he opens the case, what's the light.
Of course.
And as far as I know, there's never been a true answer. I think Quentin Tarantino is like, it's whatever you think it is, which is really it was just a light bulb in a suitcase.
It is. That's all it is.
Yeah.
What's that other movie Sam Jackson did where he's a botanist, but also a chemist, and he makes that placebo drug?
Is it
Blue, it's like
Deep Blue Sea?
No,
No.
it's like it's got meatloaf in it.
Really?
Yeah, hold on, let me.
Meatloaf and Sam Jackson?
Yeah.
was supposedly like that's what he wanted to be, was a phlebotomist, and he wanted to study marine life. Yeah, whatever.
Formula 51?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, Formula 51.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
That's a good movie.
I've heard of it and I've seen the movie preview, but I've never watched the movie.
It is a very good movie, very unhinged. It's takes place in London.
Yeah, I knew it took place because I've seen another actor and he was like a British actor.
Yeah.
I think as well. So this movie, Kill Bill, cost $30 million.
Wow.
The second part cost about $30 million as well. This one made 70.1 in America and 180.9, and that's just Volume 1.
Yeah.
Volume 2 almost did identical. I think Volume 2 made a little bit less, but this is more. It's a little bit shorter, and it's a straightforward action movie. But I think really you could watch. If you just watch Volume 2, you could still understand the story
You
for the
could.
most part.
You don't really have to see the first one.
No, it's more of just like
Really told
No,
you, just,
no.
she
The
just
second
goes
movie,
off on a
the
bunch
second
of
volume is essentially the
Yeah.
prequel.
yeah,
Yeah.
because she's just knocking off foot soldiers. Really,
Mhm.
she's like the turtles knocking over those.
If
Yeah.
you watch the true timeline to it.
I always wanted a toy of the foot soldier,
Oh yeah.
like the original one.
Yeah,
One time I had a
you need to
Donatello and I
just
lost
watch
it in a
the-
creek once.
You need to just watch the second movie so far and then pause it. Watch the first movie, and then after that, continue the second movie from a
Start
certain
about
point,
halfway.
and that's basically
Yeah.
like the true timeline.
Now this had a Rotten Tomatoes score 85% and audience score of 81, and
pretty good
IMDb
on
of
Rotten Tomatoes.
8.2. So all in the 8. So
That's
all,
one
all
of the
good.
highest Rotten Tomato scores we've had.
Yeah. So what was the lowest? Was it the one we did a few weeks
Oh,
ago?
man. Dude,
It's like a 1 point something.
Yeah, I can't remember what that was.
I can't
But we all
remember.
liked it though, didn't we?
Yeah, I can't remember what it was.
I'd have to go back and look.
I
But
know, dude, one that chapped me real bad was the first one I ever did here. Tenacious D and the Pick of Destiny.
Oh, yeah, that had-
like a 27%.
yeah, that was a low one.
I
That
was
was
like, bro, you
Yeah,
all
that's,
have no taste.
that was a lot. I'd forgotten
Be
about.
named after a food.
So what did you all think about the plot and the story of Volume 1?
It was pretty fun, dude.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
thought-
It's great. Realistically, I like the music score better.
yeah, it had great music, didn't it? That whistle, man. The
Yeah.
whistle scene will forever be like engraved in my head.
Now, I did have this song that's playing, like the very beginning of this song, we did the, well, not that part of it. Well,
Who
I did,
was it that sang that song, David? Chill Bill. It's got that whistle in the song. I cannot remember the name of the dude that sings that song.
with,
It's a good
It's
song.
Rob Stone, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think it's
Is it a Kill Bill song or like
It's
a?
called Chill
It's
Bill.
Rob
It's a
song.
rap song.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah. But the whistling parts in the song. Yeah. It might have wordy days in it.
Oh, this is the original
Yeah,
one.
there you go.
Now, I did listen to a little bit of this soundtrack on the way down here tonight, and I remember working at the theater. We bought the CD, and I had this tiny little CD player, and we would listen to the soundtrack all the time, and it was great. What about the basically the bride wakes up from a coma,
4 years.
4 years.
She wakes up from a very, very traumatic event.
Yes.
If you actually recall.
Yeah, and I was going to talk about that a little bit in favorite and least favorite scenes.
Oh. I got my favorite scene, and it's stupid, honestly.
Is it?
Okay, so you remember when she's fighting the chick with one eye at
Yeah.
the end of the movie?
Oh,
Okay.
that's the second one.
No,
That's in the
no,
second movie.
no. She's fighting the chick in the end of this one. Yeah.
No,
I just.
no.
Is that
no.
the second one?
Yeah.
Did you watch the second one?
Oh man, I might have. But anyway, she goes to pull her sword out, and they're fighting in the camper, so she couldn't pull her sword out of the sheath
'Cause of the
and she
top.
hit the ceiling, and Uma just looked at her.
Yeah, that's
and
volume
just
2.
cross-eyed look and kicked her.
That's volume 2.
Yeah, that's volume 2 one,
My bad.
bro.
Spoiler alert.
But yeah, I think this one has a lot of good. She wakes up, and basically right away after she gets this, what's the sword? A Torianzo sword.
Oh yeah, her
Best
sword.
sword made.
Yeah.
That was the last sword he made. He made that
Yeah.
Yes.
for her.
So basically, she gets the sword and she goes on a rampage of bloody revenge. Basically,
Yeah.
is the basic
And see,
story.
that's one thing I loved about this movie is the blade styles, the way the blades looked in this movie.
Yeah.
Went back to the
Very real, yeah.
old style. Like the tips were way less tapered and more like squared off.
Well, I had really read that he started writing this script in the year 2000, and it evolved over a conversation that him and Uma Thurman had about what kind of movie that they would like to actually make, and it led to
And
Kill Bill.
realistically, if you, I guarantee if you make comparisons to like old samurai movies and stuff like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, stuff like that,
Yeah,
there's probably more references from older movies in these films.
yes, especially
Because they have
when
that essence to them. It's just like the graphics are way more refined because it's 2003
right.
for one, but
It's
on
like
top of
anime
that,
in real life.
the visual graphics for this movie were way ahead of its time.
Yeah.
Right.
Anyways,
Especially when the introduction of Pai Mei in the second one,
yes.
which that's one of my favorite parts of the second one, the whole training sequence with
Yeah.
her and stuff.
Finally get to see that.
And I like the way, and we'll talk about that when we get into volume 2. But when you see when she's laying there trying to get out of that casket,
Yeah.
how she's able to do it.
Yeah.
Because if you didn't know that, you'd be like, she's not going to do that. But you learn what she's had to go through
Yeah.
for hitting that is nothing compared to what she's been hitting.
No, that big old piece of seasoned oak. I don't know what that was.
Yes,
Her
yes.
knuckles bleeding.
I don't think I could do
While
it.
we do know it is a movie and it's still impossible to
Right.
realistically dig yourself out of a grave like
Yeah.
that.
Right.
And
Ain't no
Mythbusters even debunked it themselves.
I wouldn't be able to go through. I wouldn't be able to go through her training though. I don't think I could. I got to be honest.
Nobody, dude.
Especially if Pai Mei is doing something,
I mean,
I'd poison this fish too.
a lot of that just takes a lot of mental discipline.
Yes.
Because, there's a lot of real life people that goes through training.
I want
Yes.
to know how this guy grew 2 mustaches above his eyes, though. I can't even grow a beard that good, and he grows eyebrows like that.
I know, it's crazy.
kind of unfair if you
Well,
ask me.
you also got to consider. I think they consider Pai Mei to be nearly 1,000 years old.
Yeah.
Right,
In the
right.
movie, yes.
And
And he's pretty much folklore, to be honest, if you think about it. So what do you all think about the cast? You got Uma Thurman as Beatrix, Lucy Liu as Oren Ishii.
Oh, stack cast.
I don't
all
think
the
they
way.
could have did better.
All right.
What was there anybody in this cast that had surprised you that you're like, wow, they did a much better job than expected?
The chick with one eye, I can't remember.
Daryl Hannah.
Yeah.
As
Elle,
Elle
I think
Driver.
her name
Elle
is.
Driver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Codename California Mountain Snake. Now she had really only been in like light, fluffy movies,
Yeah.
and when I'd seen her in this, I was like,
Wow.
she did a good job.
But I don't know
This is the only
anything
thing I've
else
ever
she's
seen her
in.
in.
Really?
Yeah. Same.
Okay. Well, she was kind of a bigger star in the 80s and
Okay.
90s.
Well,
You know,
To
that's-
be honest
And
with you.
I'll be also honest with you. This and Charlie's Angels are the only movies I've seen with Lucy Liu in it.
Oh, really?
I think there might have been
Never
something
even
more
seen Charlie's
recent
Angels.
that
Okay.
I've seen her in, maybe.
Let's see. Daryl Hannah was in this movie called Blade Runner.
Mhm.
She was in this Tom Hanks movie called Splash. The Steve Martin movie called Roxanne, where he has a big long nose from
Oh,
the
yeah.
80s. This movie with Charlie Sheen called Wall Street. But, in the 90s, she was in the Chevy Chase movie, Grumpy Old Men. It says she was in the Little Rascals movie. Have you ever seen the Little
Yeah,
Rascals
I
movie?
wonder where she was.
It
at.
says she's
she had
Ju-
to been a parent. or
She's
something.
June Crabtree. I can't remember that. But really, I hadn't seen. And she's in. She was in the direct-to-video Addams Family Reunion, which I never have watched that one.
See, which movie was it again?
Addams, Little Rascals. Yeah, Miss June.
Darling.
So yeah, I don't even know if I've seen Little Rascals all the way through.
I have.
I'll say like Dennis the Menace, but the Little Rascals remake. I mean, I know what Little Rascals is. I'm old enough to see the original Little
You have
Rascals.
to know the scene where Alfie or whatever his name is.
Alfalfa?
Yeah, Alfalfa. He starts burping up bubbles
Yes.
because he drank some soapy
Yes,
water.
I have seen that scene.
And then the little girl crushes the Coke can, and everybody's like,
I remember that. Maybe I have seen that thing because these scenes sound familiar. But I thought this was a great cast. Did you all have a favorite character at all in this? Because the villains really stand out just as Beatrix, but I mean you've got
I really don't have a favorite character in this film series. Because they all have their own uniqueness.
yeah.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
As they're supposed to, because that's why Bill picked them for the positions as
Of
you know
course.
the assassins with the different.
Well, see, I thought it was pretty cool the way he did Bill because you never see Bill in the first one. You just hear Bill's voice.
Yeah.
And Bill's really not
Yeah.
in it much at all. Well, but
He's really not.
He's on the phone, and that's about the only time
you see
you
like his mouth.
his mouth moving. Yeah, but you never really see.
We get the voice of David Carradine. In
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, did you all know David Carradine before this?
No,
No.
never seen him.
Now, he was in like an original movie called might have been a TV show and movie Kung Fu with a young
Yeah.
Brandon Lee.
Oh.
Brandon Lee was in that series. I think it was a series.
Oh my gosh, dude. I didn't even realize that was Brandon
Kung
Lee, but I
Fu,
see
yeah.
now.
But Brandon Lee was much younger, probably early 20s.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Now I've never seen it. I've
I'm
seen.
pretty sure that's what would have put him on the map for the Crow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
has to have been.
Yeah.
Well, he did a Showdown in Little Tokyo. That is. Have you watched that?
I ain't seen that.
It's such a. I did it. I did it once in the show, not long before you joined, Jeremiah.
Okay.
And I have the DVD. You all should watch.
Gosh, how long have I been on here now?
You started in April, like
This
the
past
first.
April?
Yeah. So going on a year. It'll be a year soon.
Wow.
Yeah.
And David started what? You probably started.
The Fan was the first time he came in when we did the movie The Fan.
Yeah, the baseball
I
movie.
basically sat in.
Yeah.
Listened to that one and.
And that was probably late. Let's see. That was after Aaron Lee.
July?
It was. Yeah.
I
It
was,
was
I was thinking more like
September?
July, August.
August. So maybe.
Somewhere around
Yeah, it was August or September because it wasn't long after Aaron Lee was back in.
Oh yeah.
And Aaron Lee had messaged me the other day, and we're going to do the Notebook when he comes in.
Okay.
Okay, so the funny thing. Speaking of the Notebook and Dude Man's books, there was one book I read. It actually takes place just before the events of the Notebook, like whenever Allie and Noah are old,
Yeah.
and it's what it is it follows their son-in-law.
Okay.
The one that married their oldest daughter.
Yeah.
And he's basically trying to get her to fall back in love with him.
Oh,
And he
okay.
gets Noah to like basically help him out.
Okay.
And I'm like, they really missed opportunity in making that one into a movie.
Right. Well, here's an interesting fact that Chris Mullins said. And after he said it, I remember reading it. But Johnny Moe and Pai Mei were played by the same character.
What?
Johnny Mo.
Are you serious?
Yes, I'd forgotten about that, but he wrote that on there, so thanks about that, Chris.
So wait, Johnny Mo, who's that again?
And he's one of the I'm trying to think. I see his face, but I'm trying to think who he plays.
Is it in the movie?
Yeah, yeah.
He's one of the.
Is he Crazy 88?
I feel
Or
like.
is he one of the people that's helping with the
He's
sword?
I think he's one of the guys with swords. Yeah.
Okay, that's what I see his face, but I can't remember exactly which one he
I think
which one
it's
he
that
is.
bald dude. That's.
Yeah, he's a bald guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the sheriff, Michael Parks, is also Esteban in Volume 2, which I did know that. And Michael Parks also plays the same character in the movie From Dusk Till Dawn, if you've ever seen that.
Yeah,
And Quentin Tarantino's in that one as well. So a lot of these connections in the same universe. So I guess if I had to choose, I mean, obviously I like the bride Beatrix, but villains I would have to go with Elle.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely.
But I don't like I don't know, I like Lucy Liu's character as well, because she just you want her to die.
I know.
Her backstory is a little more tragic. That's probably why I like her a little more.
Yeah.
Than the
Yeah.
villains. Because she
It's a very tragic
she is
backstory.
definitely a made villain. In the regards that she just wanted revenge against her parents. And
Johnny Mo's one of the crazy 88. He's one of the main crazy 88. Okay.
It's the guy that she fights.
First,
Johnny Mo's.
right?
Yeah, no, it's the guy with that we were just talking about. His and her fight scene is a reference to Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
Fighting in the
Yeah.
bamboo shoots, yeah. Or the sugar cane, I'm sorry.
But yeah, I do think this has a lot of strong characters. I think every fight scene in it's mapped out greatly. What about a favorite scene? Do you all have a specific favorite scene to this movie?
Yeah, I like it whenever it's explaining Oren's backstory.
Okay.
It's like a comic book, basically,
Right.
just animated.
When I saw that, I thought this one. I did think that, because it's I think it's 7 or 8 minutes long.
Yeah.
And what did you all expect the first time you all saw that? Because I didn't expect it. I remember sitting in the theaters, me and 2 others. We were watching it, and then it cut to that, and we were like, "What?
Yeah.
I didn't expect this."
Well, whenever I saw it, I really didn't think nothing of the whole animated comic book about Phil Ted. The only thing that I really got from it is that Beatrix and Oren sort of have some common ground to them.
Right.
And in fact, in regards that they had something very near and dear taken from them.
Yes.
At a point that should have been, would have been considered way too soon.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
I thought that maybe she would have, something would have happened and they would have come to some sort of understanding and it maybe, would have spared her or something.
Right.
Kind of like how she does her assistant at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Dumps her off at the hospital.
Yeah. Yeah. Just lets her roll down the hill.
Yep.
I think she got it pretty bad too, though. I mean, she getting her arm cut off. She getting stuffed in the trunk.
Literally just for being she was there whenever the events took place of, them trying to assassinate Beatrix during her wedding.
But she left one to tell the tale.
Yeah.
And see, I don't think she she wasn't even mentioned in Volume 2, was she?
I don't think
Other
so.
than flashbacks. Was she in flashbacks at all?
No.
I can't remember. I don't think so.
Not.
I think maybe whenever it showed flashbacks whenever she fought the crazy, because I think it shows a flashback for her fight.
Right. So other than that,
Just for a split second.
Yeah.
so no more backstory on her. So theoretically, she is still alive, just missing
Yep.
this arm. 'Cause she's
Nobody ever said she died.
no. Now, what about you, Jeremiah? Do you have a favorite scene in this?
If
Or at
it's
least
not
favorite
part 2, I can't remember. But when everybody circled around her and she just she was just going ham on everyone
Right.
with the sword.
Oh that's whenever she's fighting the Crazy 88. It's whenever she
Yeah.
got the two blades.
Yeah.
What about when she's fighting Go-Go with those?
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's
The girl
pretty.
with the little spike ball.
Yeah. Now Go-Go does have a twin
Yeah.
that we've heard Quentin Tarantino talk about, and I thought that was a good fight sequence. I do have the least favorite scene, and not because it's bad, but it's because it's hard for me to watch. Is when Bud is getting his head slammed in the door
Yeah.
time and
She
time
keeps
again.
slamming his head.
Yes,
Oh,
Buck.
Yeah.
Yeah, Buck. My
That's
mistake.
Bud
Bill's
is
brother,
Bill's
right?
brother.
Yeah. So
Buddy and Billy.
and Buck is, if you all remember, Buck is also Adam Sandler's friend in several
Yeah.
of his movies.
Oh yeah. He's in
So
almost every one of them.
Buck's friend.
Yeah.
the guy who let.
yeah, the guy he lets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, because Bud got what he deserved. But I didn't like after I.
Oh.
In all honesty, every time after I've seen it the first time, I've looked away.
It's
I look-
hard to watch.
Yeah, that I think that was one of the
And then
hardest.
she just does it again for nothing.
Yes.
It's like slaying.
I mean, he gets what he deserves. That's what he deserves. But I don't like watching it
It is
though.
hard to watch.
And then I don't know. All the fight scenes are very well choreographed.
They
The music fits perfectly,
Yeah.
and I don't have a specific favorite scene per se. Now I do have a favorite sequence in Volume 2, but not a favorite scene, I would say. Now we were talking about the soundtrack of this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this used to be the opening song on my Midnight Mutants radio show.
Okay.
Once we moved to DC, I used this. But I had other characters talking.
I like it.
Yeah, I think it's a great soundtrack. I mean, I really do.
This is there's a lot of music in here that was originally done for the movie.
Yeah.
You remember the episode of Family Guy where they did Quentin Tarantino movies?
Mm-hmm.
I love it, man. When they did Kill Bill in it.
Did they?
Yeah, dude, it was great.
See here, this here. What song was this one?
That one just
That's
in?
right at the beginning, ain't it?
Yeah.
That one's when she's first arriving in Tokyo as the plane's going over and she's on that motorcycle.
See here.
Yeah, and she pulls up beside that chick and looks at her, and she realizes it's one of the girls that helped beat her
Yeah.
before they what's his name shot her in the head.
And everybody probably remembers
Yeah.
this song.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Woohoo by the 567.
Yeah. Now, for a while, they put out some Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2 figures, like maybe Seth MacFarlane kind of figures.
Yeah.
And I had several of them.
Really.
I didn't have all of them, but I had The Bride. I had, trying to think who else I had. I had 3 of the Crazy 88. I don't think I had Bill, but I may have, because he was a hard one to find.
Yeah.
But and they were never opened either. They were just still,
Shoot.
probably, I don't know how tall that is. What, 2 foot tall? Is that 2 foot tall, maybe?
About a foot.
Foot tall?
Yeah.
So they released some cool. They released some Reservoir Dogs figures too.
Really. Oh, I love this. That one's in the Family Guy one a lot.
And you know when she's getting mad because it zooms in on her eyes and then they get red and then that sound plays. So, what do we have about the poster? There were several different posters to this movie. Now, this one featured more of a yellow background. Sometimes
Yeah.
it had some, it had the sword maybe, and it said Kill Bill on it. A couple had the bride with the sword. And at the movie theater, we would get 3, 4, 5 posters of, each movie that came in. And then we would get them sometimes months in advance.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that I took them, but I'm saying that I have a Volume 1 and Volume 2 poster that somehow I ended up with. And I have them all for the Matrix, Matrix Reloaded and Matrix Revolutions
No
too.
kidding. Oh, them are some cool
Yeah.
posters, dude.
They've never honestly been out of. I mean, I've showed them a time or two, but they've never been displayed
Out of
anywhere.
yeah.
They've always been in the tubes,
Yeah.
in those tubes. So, I thought the poster, you know, if you knew this movie was coming out, I don't think the poster was. I mean, it wasn't going to make you turn away.
No.
Now, for example, you Amber, you said you've never liked Kill Bill. Now, did you not like Kill Bill because you knew what it was?
No, I just was never exposed to it. My mom was like a super hardcore.
So you never were exposed to it. So if you had seen the Kill Bill poster, have you seen it before? If you can look it up,
Yeah, I just haven't
Would-
like time to watch.
would that have been something that you would look at the poster and be like, you know, I might like that?
Yeah.
So,
I just
okay.
didn't want to watch it. I don't
Okay.
know.
I like the one where she's holding the sword in front of her face, and
Yeah.
she, you know, and
Yeah, the one with
the
the
part in the
black
movie
jumpsuit.
where she's like, well, when
Or
she's
what?
fighting the crazy 88
Yeah,
or whatever,
the
and
yellow
she's
black
looking at him
jumpsuit,
in the reflection of her blade.
Oh yeah. That's a good one. That's a good one. So, would you all recommend or not recommend Kill Bill Volume 1?
If you like goofy and very over exaggerated scenes, yeah,
Okay.
it's a pretty fun movie.
Yeah.
So, what about you, David? You would too?
I mean, yeah, just on the sole fact that it's a Quentin Tarantino movie.
Mm-hmm.
No, I think this is probably one of the all of his movies I think are pretty entertaining, but this one is there's something happening every single second of the movie, and I think that if you would get up, well, mainly like with most of his movies, if you get up in the middle, you're going to miss something unless you've seen it time and time again, you know. But I think this has some great. Everything was practical effects in this, no CGI or anything. I thought the fights were good. I thought there was some good humor. I liked the villains. I thought Beatrix had a great mission. You know, you could see why. You know, as soon as who does she go visit the first lady when she just knocks on the door? Vernita Green, is that her name? Vernita Green, and they just start fighting as soon as the door opens. Now, I did think it was a nice little touch when they're fighting, and you can see that big window behind them, and you can see the school bus pull up, and then they kind of zooms it, doesn't really zoom in, but it focuses on their eyes, and as soon as the daughter walks in, they put the knives behind their back. So, but yeah, I think this is a good movie.
And Nikki's like, Mama, what happened? And Vernita's like, baby, your dog got in here and acted a dang fool.
Yeah. It like everybody's bloody. I'm like, what kind of dog is this?
Probably a Chihuahua.
Yeah, something little. But yeah, I think everybody, if you haven't seen Kill Bill Volume 1, you should definitely check it out.
Absolutely.
Next week, now we did get a list. I sent you all a list of some movies that some people had suggested. Was there anything on there?
Was very,
There's a lot of
popular.
really good stuff on there. I mean, I really think we should just work on knocking that list out.
So you want to do 8mm next week?
Let's try to do that one.
Yeah,
I've never seen it. And I want to.
Somebody was.
Oh, have you seen it?
There's two
I haven't
people
seen it,
that's
no.
recommended.
Have you seen it, Amber?
Ariana And,
No.
someone else did. too.
Okay.
Yeah,
It had a couple different people said it. So we'll tackle the Nicolas Cage movie 8mm. Actually, one of my favorite Nicolas Cage movies.
Gone in 60 seconds.
Well,
I mean, that's where I thought he was going to go.
oh no, 8mm. I saw it in the Tinseltown movie theater in Bristol.
Oh, dude, I love
Yeah.
that place. Man.
Yeah, me
It was
too.
So cool.
Somebody was mentioning that
The
earlier.
lights, the black lights when you walk through.
Yes,
that
yes,
hallway,
it was a
I
cool
love that.
place. Very cool place. So yeah, check us out. We're going to be doing 8mm next week on Real Talk. Check out all the programming here on 92.5 WLSD. And you can go to WLSDradio.com. We will be back in just a moment for a new episode with the first episode of the year of the Other People Show.
Nice.